think coming into this, a 2-0 is certainly on the cards for the Frenchmen to just get away with a very convincing result and look to continue going forward in the upper bracket.
Oh, here we go. Pistol round with Vitality on the CT start here of Dust 2. Straight out the gate for NBK. Shut down immediately by Zywoo, one of the Glocks in play. 2 PG-50s out for OG, only one of which is actually on Kevlar. So raid boss for Mantu. Everybody else going to be sitting pretty for the moment. RPK faces up, takes a fight, wins out against Alexi B, and so does Zywoo. Tap onto Issa's head, doubling up, making it a triple for a quadra overall. And that's why Vitality are favored in this match.
Well, there we are. What a start coming out to Dust 2. Just a beautiful 4K out from Zywoo. Straight pick coming out from the mid doors. They relocate pretty much everyone over towards the A site. RPK gets a contact, gets the info, and then Zywoo just keeps picking forward and even grants himself an M4 going into the next round. And for OG, even without a bomb plant, Jay, they're not going to Glock this round out. They're instead going to look to force going into round 2.
Yeah, straight in. Fama out for RPK. We'll look down to the back lines expecting some sort of contact presence, but nobody is going to be there towards Longhouse. OG went for the very heavy tunnels control early on in the pistol, and the conversion round will look to be a similar sort of affair. Nades up, Issa will get tagged. Smokes go down from Shocks to try block him off here, and for the most part, there's just going to be decent utility usage from the CT side. And OG not going to get given the chance to strike.
Yeah, you wonder where they're actually setting themselves up for. Is it just going to be like a late site BXE, maybe a split in towards B, because they've got a lot of mid control, but no real presence coming out from Longhouse or from short. Nade trying to come through from the city side towards Xbox. Unfortunately, no one playing there for the T side to do any more considerable damage. A flash out from mid. A lot of these footsteps being heard from Apex out from CT.
Suter shoulder baiting with the SMG, hoping to catch something off in the mid control, expecting OG to try go from mid to be split, and they'd be kind of right about that assumption. There at CT just in case. Flash in, sees what's going on, and Suter doesn't want to wait any longer. Take that frag back for NBK with the Tech 9. Turns it around for 2 decent frags on for his third. Zywoo will get tagged, but he does much more damage back to the T side member. Got to grab that bomb, got to push it up into the B site now. Shocks is holding with the back lines here in the Fama. Behind the big boxes, in fact, a bit more of an advanced angle. Gonna have to wait and bait for teammates to come do. The rotations will be very slow for Vitality, so it might be all on him to hold it down. Got to get the kill on upon Planter, swaying out, take damage onto the first, kills off the second, eventually finish the job on Valde, and now gets the 3-on-2 advantage. Oh, he's on for his triple, gets it in the end. And NBK will take him back, but that's allowed plenty of time for rotations to come back here. 5 seconds, the bomb gets tapped. Zywoo's going in with the pistol. Of course he does. 2-0 for Vitality.
Well, that was quite cheeky, right? Realizes he's low HP and thinks, okay, now I know he's low HP. Now, if I decide to go forward and I lose the fight with the M4, he's got it. So I'm just going to throw the M4 back and I'm going to get the USP out instead. Really nice hold coming out from Shocks. Great initiative for Vitality to actually flash their way in towards mid and take the fight. It ends up actually going the way of the T side, right? We saw MBK getting a couple of great kills from the Tech 9 and maybe just not anticipating another player to be over towards the B side. Shocks very silent towards that big box position, and even further aggression coming through towards the tunnels.
Oh, Valde taps up. Issa's going to get that kill in, and the SMGs can still clean house. 1 casualty sustained by Vitality. SMG bursting through, does take a secondary kill, and bursts back to a triple in the end. Shocks takes Issa down in the last frag of the round, and Vitality with a 3-0 start. Rifles out for OG now. AK's in. AWP potential is there. Will they opt to take it in the early game?
Yeah, get those rifles forward. Try and see if you can put some momentum up and get some rounds up onto the board, because the last thing you want to do is give Vitality momentum. AWP coming forward for Shocks. A couple of MP9s starting to come through, and you've got to think for Vitality, going in for a very heavy contest out towards the Longhouse. It's not challenged at all from Valde.
On the mid positions here, Vitality. Molotovs down towards the cubby corner. Trying to drive CTs out of this mid position. A lot of mid campaign coming in from OG. That's been their main focus of this one so far. Very quiet from other than that, you know. Vitality don't really want to overextend. They're happy to sit in their positions because right now they're working pretty well against OG.
Yeah, Reesburg coming up towards the tunnels, Nade down towards that short position. Maybe a little bit too early there from the city side, OG. And now starting to press forward. Maybe starting to see if they can fake out towards a short control and split in towards another split over B. That looks like the play here for OG.
Molotov's down, Apex forced back on the default plant position. Lexi B dives down into the CT spawn actually. Clears down the flank position, they're not ready for it. Takes a frag as a result. Still the SMG from Asuta holds the face and shots with the AWP, gets a 2K, drops that bomb. Player out of tunnels could be a bit of a risk, but Lexi B is known and Shox is watching him to try and back up his position. Issa gonna make some noise, flash over, Orb evades it. Continues to look back and forth, trying to check out the position. RPK now facing, gonna come in for the flank position, but Issa grabs that bomb and gets the kill on Shox. And Lexi B takes the final frag of the round. It's gonna be 1 for OG on at this stage. Looking like a good execute there towards that T side.
And that was nice. Fake out the short play, be able to get Lexi B dropping down towards that short control, starting to swarm up towards the B side, trying to isolate the AWP from Shox. And we almost sort of saw that in the rotates in the 2v2, they were kind of caught between looking towards the site of Izza and then also Lexi B stuck in towards the CT spawn. So, look, good start coming out for OG to be able to convert the opening gun round, Jay.
Absolutely. You know, the AK is working well enough to go back to their favor. Vitality still leading by a margin of 3 rounds, though. The buyback should be on for these guys. AKs for the T side line. Masuta is solo holding the B bomb site. Fama, oh sorry, AUG I should say, back over towards this cubby corner position. Flashbang to Raiders, they're going to check in. No, they won't. He takes those 2 frags, still gets the headshot on the man in front. And a double up to make a 2-for-1 trade happen. Vitality can get set up for the retake.
Jeez, what a hold coming out from Masuda. He's the only player at B. The rotates still take some time, but he's able to get a couple of kills. And now this is very winnable out from Vitality. More post-plant util coming through from OG, smoke off the upper tunnels, couple more flashes in play, and they're actually going to only leave a single player of Zaiwu to come in from the backstab through the tunnels. The rest coming out from mid.
Flash over. To up on the window, trying to check out position. Couple kills coming in for RPK. Left alone, lines up 2 players. Third man peeks in, but Shox jumping around with the SMG, gets the final frag, and Vitality keep the hype train running.
Well, they get a bomb plant, so they're certainly going to have enough money for them to be able to run another buyback, especially where the loss bonus sits. But Team Vitality, great retake in. RPK having a really nice a play coming in from the B doors with that AUG. Being able to cycle off a couple of players, but it all really started by this one moment here from Masuda. If he only gets 1, Vitality might even think about an instant save. Because he gets the advantage, because he's able to isolate 2 kills, they end up deciding to go for it, and it turns into another victorious round.
Tactical pause for OG. Of course, appropriate given the circumstances of this round. Losing that follow-up gun round and, of course, shutting their own economy back down. Not 100% confident in this. You can see MBK has already bought the Kevlar and utility. A couple of players can afford to buy back. But not everybody can go in with the same investment here. It's a bit of a call coming in. I imagine it probably will be a force round because MBK has already invested heavy. But OG, more specifically, need to align their strategies to try counteract Vitality at this stage. And they're going to go for a half buy instead. Upgrade CZ, pass off towards MBK. So with the 2900 loss bonus, I think they should be able to afford a buy.
I'm a little bit surprised about that. Certainly they'll be able to afford a buy in the next round, but I thought there could have been a great opportunity to go in for a full investment, try and reset your opposition, but try to go in for another B play. Masuda trying to play behind this smoke. If they run through this is a death trap.
Locked on, Shox backed up to the cubby corner. Carefully positions. 1 player will be the main focus of the mid control. 2-1-2 split basically from Vitality, 2 players per site. And Shox is the right man to try and deal with any sort of mid control that OG will go for. I mean, they've gone for it several times over the course of this map up. But so far in this round, seems to be a little bit more careful past the mid doors.
Very silent from OG2. Flash coming in. Shox actually turning away from the flash, but it's the CZ up close from MPK to find the first pick, and the charge continues into the B side. Another kill coming in from MPK. Apex struggling with the spray, only gets a couple of kills. OG at the advantage, now getting the post plant in.
Did Vitality want to go for this? MBK's landed himself 3 kills, but he's on 12 points of health. And yeah, Zywoo and RPK think better of this. Grab that AWP on that AUG, save it into the next one, because OG will have won the second of the round. The map, I should say. And again, mid to B players coming in from OG being pretty successful in this one. Shox, unfortunately, getting caught off guard by the pistols. They read his position so well and got that first frag in. Again, NBK with 3 huge rounds in this one. If Apex had connected that 3rd kill on the spray, then maybe this could have been a bit of a different story for Vitality. But yeah, eco win for OG. They'll be happy with that one.
Oh, what a way to bounce back too. I mean, one thing to kind of think about, right, in the play-ins, every time in a best of 3, the OG picked a certain map, they actually ended up losing it. We saw Mirage being picked against Liquid, only managed 7 rounds there. They picked Overpass against Cloud9, only managed 11 rounds there. So they've always been on the sort of the back foot on the approach in the best of 3s, in which that they have struggled with their own map picks. So trying to get closer and closer to tying up the scoreline. Vitality now taking a bit of a tactical.
That they are. Moment's respite here for them. Very quick tacticals to respond to the likes of OG, of course, with their own moment to adjust their strategies. And I'm kind of surprised that Vitality are going for this, given the fact that, you know, they still look confident, you know, like even though they are going to be on a broken bye, like there's still a chance they could win these rounds. I guess at the end of the day, like this is mostly just focusing on trying to ensure that OG don't let the momentum go. Of course, AWPs will still be out in play. I think there's a weapon drop for Shox somewhere in the midst of CT spawn. No, he's just rocking the Eagle in this round. Okay, so a bit of a broken force advantage for Vitality. OG have their main weapons in check. And let's see how the CTs hold it.
Zywoo just not over-peeking out here from mid, giving himself a bit of an angle to work with in case they overextend. A very heavy play coming out towards the long challenge from Vitality, but without any sort of counter play from OG, they end up just falling back and now stacking up the bomb side. An opportunity now for OG to start to split in towards the A side.
Essa being entry here for this one. Utility out of the long house. 1 kill comes in for Shox. That Deagle does well enough. Sees Alexi B past the smoke as a tag in. And they're all distracted here towards the short position. So MBK can swing back, get a frag to return. 4 versus 4 burst. Back fall, they find the secondary kill. RPK goes down next up. CTC into the edge of the smoke. Apex makes a small mistake, and that will cost them 4 versus 2. Shox, however, turns it around with 2 and 3. He gets traded back by Alexi B, so it's all Zywoo to the clutch.
USP out. Oh, he's seen him. He's seen him, and he taps up with the USP. What a round out for Vitality. It started with Shox. It ended with Zywoo. What a round for the Frenchman. OG had so many advantages. That was a 4v2. Shox getting so many kills. And this last tap from Zywoo was everything. Got the information. Didn't even need the AWP. And Vitality find their 5th.
Well, that's a hell of a turnaround from a player that only had a Deagle at the start of the round as well. Shox getting, I believe, a total of 4 kills in that one. Unreal. Vitality right back in the driver's seat as a result. It's Alexi B that's forced down with the pistols, and the confidence from Vitality to push up through the tunnels. They're going to read this information to see nothing's out here. I believe a little bit of utility was shown towards Longhouse, so there might be some information gathering from the CT side. Might start to realize there's a long stack in, but there's that player at the mid door that could be a bit of a lurk.
There's an opportunity, actually, OG, if they get a bit of a window to actually push out from mid and get into B, but you're not really going to go for a play like that without using the utility, and, well, that's just not happening from mid because it's the long challenge. Great information gathering here coming out from Vitality. A bit of an exchange finally out from long. Alexi B trying to back up his teammates, but Vitality just know exactly what's going on, and even Masuda's pushing further forward.
Heads up from the CT side, doesn't do any damage to Alexi. OG focusing on the long control, and the AWP almost lines up too. Only gets that 1 frag. MBK can trade it. Smoke down on Valde, siphons off the short position. Suter still gets Mantu, and Shox reads that player towards mid. Valde with a trade meanwhile on the site itself does leave that bomb plant to be secured. And now a 2v2 retake set in from Masuta coming in from long. Shox also will make his way out the longhouse position. No gap in that smoke being given up though, so Masuta can't quite find the angle of attack. Volde back behind the big box. MBK with a face in takes one, and Volde cleans up the last player of Shocks, and OG will make it 3 on the 2 side.
Yeah, back and forth rounds now coming through between both of these sides. And look, we saw a lot of talk, I suppose, about MBK over the play-ins, right? Having some really big performances for OG. I think someone mentioning that he had one of the best maps on record, or one of the best maps as a career record. And sort of coming forward into a big rivalry game, right? And going up against his ex-teammates in Team Vitality, and he's putting on a show for us. A little bit of early damage coming through from the mid face, but Vitality going to be broken on the force by going into round 9.
I don't know if that was team damage or whether it was Zywoo with the scout that got the attack. Or maybe Apex as well. The low players on the scouts at this stage. RPK gets that back with Volde. Back in for a second. No, LXCB shuts it back down with the AK. They maintain 4v4 for the moment here. The York back in for Mantu, getting caught off guard as he can't quite land that shot here. Both scouts again facing against the sniper battle, and they actually win it out. Alexi B drops. That's bomb information game of Vitality rotations inbound. T-side fighting, and still Apex wins the fight. 3 kills to his name. Can't quite land the quadra, but that's what Zywoo's there for here. Backed up by also teammates coming on the pistols. And they still will get 1 frag back on Shocks, his headshot angle being given up. Zywoo, it's only a matter of time before he lands it, surely. It's a 1v3 left for the lone T-side player.
Yeah, this isn't happening for Issa unless he can just do the unthinkable. Tries to at least molly out 1 person, but there's just so many players. He has been able to pick up that bomb, but look at the damage he's taken in return. 29 points of health, almost anticipating that there's going to be a player behind him. Now, he's got the time to work with. Does he just try and back off? No, instead he looks to try and take the fight. Zywoo with the scout to be able to win out, and they'll be able to pick up a couple of AKs too. Oh my goodness, we're really seeing the best out of both of these teams.
We really are. OG keeping pace with Team Vitality. Doing a very good job at this stage, being able to maintain the control, but Vitality are the ones that are still in the lead here, and with rounds like that is the reason why. Force up from OG, Tech9's on 3, Deagle out for Mantu, and an AK, hero AK for Issa. The CT's currently playing towards the long control on 2 individuals, but mostly a stack towards the B play. 3 players here to respond towards it. They're reading the OG's defaults, usually are set towards the tunnel's control.
Yeah, 2 players over towards the B site, potentially a 3rd one from Shocks. Another split in towards the B site, maybe out from mid. Shocks is starting to hear a lot of these footsteps, call that information over. What does he decide to do about it? Does he want to try and over-aggress? Flash comes through from his teammate in Masuda, peeks with it, only sees a couple of players, and now gets stuck out towards CT.
Shocks in the corner, the SMG backed up Masuda. In towards the mid control, smoke down. Spray still in the SMG, can't have any frags or tags. It says Masuda with that 1 kill and inadvertently lining up on MBK. Apex takes his chance to capitalize on the damage, and now it's him on the side defensive. Masuda goes dropping next, but Apex still lands the headshots. Back in for the second, tap up on Mantu. The PC-50's enough to finish off the job, and that's exactly what he does. 3K for the scout, and man, the scouts have shown up here for Vitality.
Yeah, whether they've actually been like headshot connections or just tags, we have seen consistent scout damage coming through between Apex and Zywoo over the last sort of handful of rounds because the economy just hasn't really been there. Finally getting to a point where Vitality are now starting to push forward. I know that they've had the lead for all of this map so far, but 4 rounds of the lead, another eco needs to come through from OG. Nade up towards top mid. Ooh, that's some damage.
Lexi B. Fast casualty, this one, SMG back on Shocks, takes Issa next to 3 players there from the OG side. The eco getting cleaned up. And yeah, bomb drops, Shocks gets himself 2 more kills, Tech9 back here, taps through for the triple. And yeah, 8 to the board of Vitality, looking real good here on Dust 2 on a CT side. I mean, yes, OG have kept pace, but now that momentum has started swinging, things do look pretty decent.
While it hasn't been an AWP-heavy map so far, just because of where the economy sits, we've kind of mentioned about the scouts. Look at Mantu, right? 1 and 10 over for the T side from OG. We've seen the AWP in play for Shops. We've seen it out for ZywOo. We've seen plenty of scouts, and the sniper weapon's just doing a mass amount of damage for Vitality. The same can't be said for OG. He's going to be on a scout going into round 12.
Gonna fight for mid control one more time here, and Vitality have let them have it because it's really in the backlines is where OG are having the worst moments. Map control isn't a problem, it's the executions that Vitality are able to deal with. Masuta with the AUG backed up scout, AWP I should say, in for Shocks. That B-side defense flash in. Masuta does not see anything past that smoke. It hasn't cleared yet. It will start to clear in the next few seconds. Re-smoke down from the CT is going to keep OG from pressing forward. They will set up a set piece though. There are 4 players up here in the upper tunnels.
Oh, that's a great spam out from Issa, and we've actually seen the B defense be pretty rock solid here for Vitality. This could be the crack where it starts to open for OG. Shox is now alone, and no one's in rotating positions.
Oh, both Shocks caught up in the wrong moment, trying to walk the 2 angles at once, and that will be the safe call for Vitality pretty much immediately. Unfortunately, the early kill coming in against Masuta basically cost them the round right there, and it kind of came down a little bit to luck. Spamming through the smoke, you never know what you're going to be able to get. But yeah, OG will find their 4th. Vitality. Well, they still look confident at this stage, but there are some rounds where they're letting it slip here, and OG just trying to see if they can build up some hurt at this stage. Try to see if they can harm Vitality as much as possible.
Yeah, maybe that's going to sort of lie in the back of Masuta's mind in how he wants to approach the jiggle peaks or play close up towards the smoke. Because we've seen it a couple of times, right, that they smoke off the tunnels and he's kind of just playing around it, waiting for them to push forward. But if he's just going to get spammed like that from Issa, then maybe he's got to have a different approach, different angle to the situation. A couple of great kills out from Issa. Someone that certainly we saw in the best of one against Fnatic, looking fantastic on the T side, having some really great entries. It seems like he's starting to find his form now on Dust 2. But for OG, it's going to come down to the tactical mastermind of Alexi B to sort of claw them out of this situation, because while we are seeing some competent rounds and we are seeing them make this first map competitive, Jay, they've got to try and close the gap on this scoreline.
Yeah, again, that's the main issue. You know, Vitality can just respond right here and they'll take easy control of the rest of this half. So for OG, it's about closing the gap, and you know, damage being done, it's not going to be good enough. They need to get good executions, much like that last round. Flashes in, Apex turns away from it, gets that first kill. Alexi B, that response. Masuta pushes forward of the smoke, and to his detriment, Volde comes up with that kill, and Shocks now on platform here with the AWP, but ZywOo comes in to support, spamming through the smoke, takes down Alexi B, and now the bomb's close towards the side. Shocks has no idea of it, will get positioned out, or out positioned right there to the T-side line, so it's all left to ZywOo. Gets his second kill, the smoke starts to fade, but now in a 1v2 clutch here.
I wonder if he actually decides to go for this or whether he just saves onto that AWP. A 1v2, you almost feel like ZywOo is always going to try and at least attempt to retake like this. Lurk smoke goes down out for the doors. Both players from the T side playing around this big box position. Maybe a bit of a bait on one another that one swings out while the other one stays hidden. ZywOo getting absolutely no information. Issa with the swing gets a 5th round up for OG. Shock's had a really uncomfortable time there. And we even saw like how pressured Masuta felt like he was to push through that city smoke to try and contest that from mid, but it doesn't quite work the way he would have liked.
Yeah, Shocks have been pressured quite frequently here on this B bomb site. I think Vitality need to bolster him a little bit more. I'm not sure if that's down to just Masuta playing a bit more of a passive angle to stay alive, or whether they want to put a 3rd player that's... I mean, they have put 3 players out there before. I wouldn't recommend a 4-man stack to the B side. No way. But, yeah, something needs to change over on that side of the map, because OG are able to pick it apart pretty well. Tactical pause for Vitality to discuss just that here, because it could be a severe weakness that could affect the chances for OG to actually close that gap, like you mentioned. Small tech pause being called here for these guys. Hopefully we'll get some information on it very soon. But yeah, another moment's respite here for these squads.
What is pretty interesting, actually, I was watching the mainstream last night, and there was a bit of a conversation with an interview between Kassad and Valde on the CT side of Dust 2, where they were kind of talking about how influential it is to take long control on the CT side. OG really haven't taken long control on the T side at all, really. Like, it's been a lot of emphasis on deep mid presence, a lot of emphasis over towards that B side, but not really any long takes, right? Like, we've seen an occasional long split or like an A split with 3 players up from short and 2 from long, but it really has been, at least in these gun rounds, more of a lean over towards the B side. And maybe, yeah, you're right. Maybe if they're finding that there are some weakness and there are some holes in the defense over towards B with Shocks, then maybe that's an area of the map they want to continue exploiting in the few late rounds that we have in this first half.
Well, again, it would do good enough to close the gap, especially with Vitality on a force bite. Orps in for 2 players in Zywoo and Shocks, AUG on Apex, SMG for Masuta, Famas out for RPK. So definitely not the most cleanest of buys. Voldo in with the AK, flash out, gets caught by it, but does also force the CTs off angle. Smokes will go up, they want to siphon off the OG side, made their way ahead of it. And now they have taken long control. Obviously talking about that in the freeze time, and that's exactly what they do.
Yeah, bringing absolutely everyone out here towards long. No lurk presence in the upper tunnels, nothing out from top mid. And what that does mean is it opens up the opportunity for an aggressive upper tunnels play from Vitality. But I suppose with how pressured they've been towards that side, they don't want to go for anything like that. A slow walk in from long, almost a retake setup coming in from Vitality with an aggressive short play with 2 players.
Comes through on the AK, AWP. Oh, what a shot from Shocks, but he doesn't last much longer. Valde comes up with that kill. One more player and Apex makes his way up and out, straight through 2 players. Looking at the kill to either of them. Issa holds the line and gets a double up as RPK is traded. Zywoo going for the Kelly. He does not connect it of his own right. 3-on-2 situation for Vitality for the retake. OG are at the advantage. Are they going to move the Suitor up? Yes, they will, and they'll pay for it. And the jump phase from Zywoo attempted one more time. 4K for Issa instead, with Vitality crumble on the A retake. Last round of the half, the economy is broken for Vitality here. It has to be a force buy, obviously, but this will not be a very good setup.
Yeah, the economy's just not there at all for Vitality. They force bought into that last round, meaning that, going forward, they're going to have hardly anything to work with in round 15. What can OG do against this broken buy? Well, straight in towards the upper tunnels for a few players. Valde just that late lurk out from Longhouse with Mantu a little bit further behind him. Trying to go in for the Zywoo smoke that's been talked about out towards the mid doors. Everyone seems to be talking about this smoke now. Pixel perfect.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, I suppose so.
OG allowed to cross into the short control as a result. Seen only a couple of short takes from these guys. As you mentioned, obviously a lot more leaning towards the B site so far in this half. Vitality have Deagles to try and counteract them. One on Masuta, on Ramp, one on Zywoo towards the... that's a 5-7, excuse me, actually on Zywoo there. Masuta taking his 5 fights. The Molotovs will try and suppress them here. They're doing a decent enough job to stall for time. CTs on the wraparounds will come back in for backup. All players baited in through the CT spawn though. No one's going to go towards mid, where there is a player watching. Apex will be ready, however. There could be a wraparound through tunnels.
Yeah, it looked like that was what was going to happen for OG. They end up sort of almost backing off from short, maybe faking out a bit of a double pump, but 40 seconds on the clock, an aggressive move comes through. I don't think they know about Zywoo. The 5-7 looking to try and line him up. 1 kill goes out for him, and now it's down to RPK on the side to try and defend.
Eagle up. 2 taps, takes out Alexi. Gets MBK as well. Issa will drop him. And now the SMG of Shocks is left to defend it here. The only automatic they have left. Apex closing in the back here from the short control. Bomb plant on default means that he can't deny it on Issa. Scout will be watching as the smoke goes down. AK moves up and it tries to back off to a much more passive position with hard cover. Apex takes out Valde though, popping off here in the game with that Scout in play. And Shocks takes the final frag on Issa to take a 9 for Vitality. Going into their T half, they have the advantage as we also head towards the break. The Frenchmen look geared and ready to shut down OG after this. most part here. It's not exactly the most one-sided affair so far.
No, certainly not. And I don't think that's something that we expect, at least in the first map of the series. This is OG's map pick. We know that they've picked into Dust 2. Well, they've had some really close results as of late. We saw that they got that Cloud9 victory yesterday on this map to actually qualify in. And then a couple of close games at the Blast Premier Spring groups against Astralis and Big, going very down to the wire, 29 or plus rounds for both of those maps individually. But look, for Vitality, we've seen some good stuff from them as well. Obviously, getting the half lead at a 9-6 going forward. The pistol round could be very vital from both sides. I think for OG, it's maybe not like the last hope if they don't win pistol, but it gets very awkward going forward if they're not able to convert this CT pistol round.
Yeah, because if you talk about realistically, we're thinking that, 11 rounds, 10 at minimum, obviously, for the pistol victory, but possibly, the conversion if they, get to 11 and then eco for 12. So, like, around 11, 12 rounds is the worst case scenario for losing out on this pistol round. But yeah, you're right about that. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's still particularly bad for them given the current circumstances. Vitality would be on victory row here on map 1. Of course, the pick of the OG side, so to lose it would be a very bad sign indeed. But as you mentioned, there's been a couple of losses from the Vitality camp. They've lost a number of matches. In fact, they're currently on a 4-series losing streak across all tournaments. None have quite been down to the level of the OG side. Again, their previous sort of meeting against them was a 2-0 effect, and way before this last this last losing streak from Vitality. But maybe that does suggest a slump in form for these guys. Maybe that does suggest something that maybe OG could capitalize on if they've done their homework. Or maybe that all could just be the case that that's all disappeared now that Apex is back in the lineup. And for him especially, he's been looking damn good so far this matchup.
He's been looking great. He's looking really on form, and I think a lot of people were worried, right, when we saw that the announcement came through that he was taking a bit of a leave, because everyone was like, is this just for a few months? Is this for a few days? What's going on? But look, we know that it could sometimes be important to take a bit of a break, and I know that Shock's kind of talked about it a little bit in the 6-man interview, is that you've always got that basis right for Vitality. If someone is, not feeling that well or wants to take a little bit of a break, you've always got that one man of Navira to come forward, and I'm sure we'll see him later on into the series as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're using the 6-man rotation to get him involved in certain maps here and there whenever they sort of acquire a sub in. And again, when it comes down to the model teams to run a 6-man roster, I think Vitality are definitively up there. They're the guys that, are the leaders when it comes to how they'll do a 6-man roster. Even though there are some teams who have sort of made it seem like they're more glorified stand-ins, or maybe they've had a player that just comes in to specialize on one particular map, and it's like, okay, well, how do you roll with that one? I don't know. Vitality definitely seem like they've got they've got it down pat.
Well, we saw to start off when Navira got picked up over from Heretics, he was playing Dust 2 and Inferno, and only those two maps. I think they're now starting to bring him a little bit more involved in Overpass, which is going to be the 3rd map of the series. So might have to see a little bit of an appearance there for him, but certainly, it even maybe keeps the players from Vitality on their toes, right? Knowing that, okay, Dust 2 is coming up. Well, I've got to make sure that I have a good performance because I don't want to be replaced by Navira, because maybe it's a little bit of a kick up the backside, too, from some of the players knowing that, if you're not performing, well, we've got someone that can, fill in for you.
Coming out of this half, unfortunately, we have had some tech problems that have kept things a little bit delayed. So as a result, what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to send you over to a little bit of surf and chill, I believe, for a little bit of time. So go ahead and enjoy that while we get ready for the second half between OG and Vitality. A little bit delayed, but hopefully we shouldn't be too long. Okay, it seems like we're ready to come back into the matchup here. Unfortunately, something to cut your surf and shit a little bit too early, but it did feel like that there was a bit of a rumbling over in the server. I've had a round restart, so I think we're ready to rock with the pistol round here. OG back on the CT side, Vitality on T, and again, very important round for the OG side to win.
Yeah, look, that just gathers momentum. Try and see if they can strike forward with it. We saw that they didn't win pistol over in that first half, and Vitality were able to get off to that 3-0 start, winning the anti-eco conversion. So, starting things off, Xbox smoke down for Apex over on the T side. It seems like it's going to be 3 players out towards long for an early contact play. A lot of players into the upper tunnels for the T side, but they're just going to hold off for a little bit longer. More util to follow from Masuta and Apex.
Alexi B. Smoke, the fuse I should say on him. The smoke flash and HE on Valde for the OG side. The utility basis for the CT camp and Vitality. Starting to press into the short control. 2 players in Valde and Mantu here towards the A player. Third man can rotate from CT, but they're going to smoke that position, try and siphon off the Vitality side.
And Nate tries to come back actually towards that short angle, but doesn't quite find the connection that the CTs were hoping for. A crack out from mid, maybe just to run quickly towards the B side. Lexi B's going to be smoked. No way that he can try and do anything unless he pushes forward.
Issa sees 2, taps through. Masuta comes up with his kills. Issa with a double up, however, lines up those headshots. MBK and Valde find 2 of their own right. Coming in from the mid control. Suddenly Apex stands alone in a 1 versus 3. Takes face, takes fight, and Mantu closes it down. And OG do win the pistol of the CT half. A big way to try to see if they can close the gap between them and Vitality.
A really nice crossfires being set from Issa in particular towards the B site. We saw him playing out from Car, being able to get a couple of great taps up. Already some wraparounds coming through from Longhouse to backstab in from mid. Vitality going to be forcing in and getting those Tech 9s forward. A couple of deagles out for both RPK and for Masuta. Long quarter smoke to start off for Vitality. Maybe try and see if they can brute force their way out for the initial long challenge. Couple of nades up towards top mid. That's decent damage onto Zaiwu. Alexi B peeking with a flash to find the opening kill for OG.
Yeah, quick, easy. Lacking in helmets across the Vitality side, so the SMGs can clean them up pretty effectively. Flashes over into a short control. We'll have Alexi B continuing to press forward. Does damage to Zaiwu and gets the hell out of dodge. Want to do anything on his own, especially when there's a numbers game of Vitality out there. I think they're reading the short control. Incendiary's down, smokes back, Shocks pressing forward with the other Tech 9s and Deagles here on the T side line. Bomb plant can be secured, and OG wrapping back from the mid position, going to re-attempt the retake here from the short control. All 4 players coming out of this position. It's not like it's a multi-pronged attack, just straight up and out. Issa will lead the charge in. Fama checking out the site, flashed in, sees that player over towards the ramp control. RPK tagged up, Shock still on the site itself as RPK goes down. Tech 9 ready to receive. He sees the first player, spams his way through, doesn't connect the headshot and doesn't connect the kill, and most certainly doesn't connect the rounds.
Yeah, look, really nice retake coming in from OG. I almost get a little bit nervous sometimes when they retake all together, but 4 players out from the short control almost work together as a bit of a unit and just isolate so many of those initial jills. We saw the bomb plant going down, but really without too many kills following for Vitality, I wouldn't expect a force buy to come through here. They could just half invest again, 2,900 loss bonus, maybe go for a hero AK onto a single player, but a continuous force for everyone doesn't make a massive amount of sense, and that's what Apex is doing. Buying down an AK for himself, trying to see if he can do some damage going into round 18.
Yeah, Deagle's in for Vitality. Damage they can do here, but nothing will come their way, it seems. Very passive control from both OG and the Vitality side. They are starting to press up to that mid control here for the T side line. Scout in for Mantu tapping his way through, hoping to catch some sort of tag or kill. Oh, can't quite get RPK. That's what the HE for Issa is there for. And it looks like despite Mantu's low HP numbers, the CG should be able to kill up against these pistols pretty easy. Valde gets 2 out towards the long control, and Zaiwu and Masuta are the last 2 standing.
Yeah, quite a lot of damage done to Valde and Mantu, but not quite enough to be able to get them leading in towards the T side favor. Zyru and Masuda just trying to see what more damage they can do. That AK being dropped just outside of the longhouse, so I don't think that'll be retrievable for Zyru unless he actually takes a wide swing out. We're taking a lot of damage. MP9 cleans up. That's the bomb gets dropped. Nice shot coming out from Zyru. One more player from long to deal with. Okay, 2 kills and now the AK picked up. I don't want to say this is winnable, but it's certainly possible to do more damage.
Third kill would be nice if you can isolate Issa down. AK standing, but he's not checking the right position. He had a good read on when Masuda, Issa was, I should say. But yeah, gets shut down in the end. AK can get recovered by the CT side as a result, and it will be 9-all for OG. Good effort from Vitality. Damage has been done. They can limit the buy state in a certain scenario, in certain cases. But for the most part, we are looking at full guns across the board in both contexts, both for Vitality and OG, as the first gun round of the half is set to begin.
AWP coming straight out for Mad 2 over on that City side. Getting one over on the T side as well for Zywu. Fast playing towards the upper tunnels, contact coming through from Vitality. Just a single player out towards the B site anchor of MBK. We certainly saw Vitality playing Shocks and Masuda over towards that side of the map. So if the mid to B play does come through, it could be the perfect timing, especially with Izza still in reposition.
It was CT scene, a gun barrel scene, a foot leaning out. We'll just use his spray to try to direct him out of position. That nade does damage. He gets the kill on Shocked and drops the bomb. However, the B defensive, the only player left there in MBK has fallen. 2-for-1 trade. The CTs will be able to maintain control. Vitality will have that bomb plant in here. As they do lose Zywu, it's a 4 versus 2. And surely from here, OG should just press up and overwhelm them with firepower, no?
Well, you'd think so. Apex has got to make a bit of a play. If he times this right, he can actually try and get around them and then backstab the CTs. There's a lot of utility here for OG. Does anyone expect the play out from lower tunnels, though?
AK leaning up, spray through. Apex gets Mantu. RPK follows suit. Alexi B with a trade. Apex now last man standing, but Apex on the bomb, completely covered off from this mid control. The volley is going to come in ahead too late, a lot too late actually. Doesn't even land on position. And OG will win the retake, 10 to the board of the CT side, and they're in the lead now.
Now, look, that was a decent post plant, though, for Vitality. When you think about it, right? Like, 2v4, what more are you expecting from them? They get the bomb plant. Yeah, maybe they don't win the round, but they probably played that as best as they could. It just came down to the numbers game for OG, and as soon as they know that Apex is playing out as a lurk from mid, Alexi could just stick that bomb, get the round together, get the lead, and get to double digits. And Vitality getting off to a very slow start in this second half. It's been 4 rounds in a row for OG. The one thing I'm getting worried about, Jay, though, is some of these rounds being so close, the money just isn't being built up. And at single round loss bonus of 1,400, there could be an instant reset potential here for OG if they lose one of these next following rounds.
Ops in, M4's out, AKs, AUGs. This is the full set of AKs, AWPs, and of course Vitality's Zywu straight in, ready to receive. He misses a shot, very uncharacteristic. And Valde will take him out immediately, get that AWP away from T-side hands. Fantastic start for OG, taking out one of the power players from the Vitality side, and well, limiting them to a 5 versus 4 and now 3 as Mantu finds Shocks. The HE standing by to try to do even more damage. Oh, right to the head of RPK. No idea that was sailing his way until it was far too late, and Vitality had been decimated here in round 20.
No, they've been picked apart. Great wide swing out from long. Great initial pick coming through from Mad2. Overextension out from Alexi to grant himself a couple of kills. And RPK is now going to try and deliver in a 1 versus 5. What a round this is. So convincing coming out from OG. And they could win it without anyone going down. There's no real reason that Alexi needs to push this far forward now. They've got the bomb and CT control out from shore. RPK is going to have to swing wide to pick that back up. Under a minute left, spots out the ramp player. That's 1 kill onto the AWP of Mantu. 1 more on towards the site. There's a chance for a bomb plant. And flash comes through. RPK trying to see if he can get in towards CT. Try to take a duel on towards a mid player. Nade coming out, but there's just so much information coming through, and eventually Valde is going to peek out from car. OG only lose that single player. They recover the NWP. They pick up an AK for Issa too. What a beautiful round from them.
And no rounds on T side for Vitality. was on the expectation that they would be able to rip them apart at this stage, but this T-side start not being as ideal as they would have liked it to be. Another tech pause. I have a feeling that this is going to go back to the connection issues we've seen from OG all game so far. Hasn't affected them too bad, clearly, because right now they're in the lead. Unfortunately, it doesn't last too much longer, so you'll be quickly back underway between these two sides. Vitality have the AK on Apex. I imagine they're going to force around this. I mean, it could be a half buy around. It's just the AK being one of the just one of the main weapons. So yeah, Hero AK half buy. Let's see what Vitality can do with it.
Did some decent damage in the last time they brought it out. Maybe try and see if they can even turn it into a bit of a round victory would be nice. Take a little bit of pressure off their back with this lead now starting to build up for OG. A heavy influence out towards this long challenge. Bit of spam coming through onto Zywoo with the nade. Fast up contact towards the A site. RPK is going to be able to get that first pick. Issa finds a bit of a trade. They've got the bomb crossed over. A chance for a bomb plant now.
Yeah, down on default, 4 versus 4. Vitality can achieve that much here. Did the nade send the rifle back towards one player? I don't know if it did. Either way, Apex is going to go down, so he drops the AK and the rifle does not stay in play. Masuta also out of position. Zywoo comes up with his deagle, now grabs an M4 to work with. Not the ideal weapon for this, but he'll still try and face the CTs with a more automatic position than the hand cannon. Dink down on one player, shots goes falling, all on Zywoo. It's a clutch shit. He lines up 2, only gets the 1 frag though. Time's ticking, down on default, finds the second and the third! And the HP numbers hurt them. OG can't hold on. Vitality clutch to 10.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Zywoo's alive. My goodness, what a 4K coming out from him. Picks up the M4 out from the short position, and just the way he mechanically is able to deal with both of these players. The crosshair placement is beautiful. And OG crumbled to a Hero AK round. And honestly, Jay, the AK didn't do a lot, right? We saw that it was actually the pistol out from RPK of the P250 to find that first. The M4 up from Zywoo. That AK, while it got chucked around for a couple of players, wasn't actually the weapon that did the majority of the damage.
Vitality. Now finally getting the start that they need here on the T side. Will they continue to swing momentum to their favor, or will OG be able to shut it down? Well, there's 2 SMGs to try and do so here for this CT side. MP9s, Alexi B and NBK. Mantu boost up to the short control with the AWP in hand, hoping to catch someone here towards that short position. Unfortunately, missing the first jump, so can't get to an advanced angle quick. Apex sees that 1 player out here to the long position. There's Issa with the AWP that strikes first. Masuta first to fall.
Oh, we saw a couple of double AWP players coming out for Vitality in their first half. OG now starting to do the same. Now, Apex is just on a bit of a slow walk out from this long position. A big off angle coming through from Alexi B. Swing out towards CT. He's just trying to get this A bomb site, and as soon as they get those cross smokes over, they can just bring the bomb over as well. But he can't deal with the player on the site.
Now, awkward sprays, Alexi B lining up a little bit better. Awkward positioning from Apex, had a lot of angles to check and just couldn't be accurate about shooting as a result. And now the main T side force comes into the long control. Volde's watching this from a long angle, and with an SMG in tow, it's going to be difficult for him to line up the kills indeed. Just minimal damage done to Zywoo, forced to fall back, play a different position over at Elevator, allow Mantu to do the heavy lifting, because he's the man with the AWP. Back at the sandbags, and we'll try and hunt for kills. Zywoo still takes him down now. Smoke onto cross, flash over, Molotov in, Zywoo crosses with that bomb on his back. Cats going to pop him here actually. It's going to be a 4 versus 3 retake, and now even as MBK falls.
Yeah, taking a duel out towards CT spawn from RPK. He's got the control of the pit angle. Shox and Zywoo closer towards the site. Now, Valde's been able to push up quite aggressively towards our elevator position in which he's been sitting for a while. Issa still coming in from rotation, trying to pick up that M4 Valde. No utility to work with here for OG.
Walk in, sees the head of 1. Issa trying to blind fire against him, connect something, but no. No kits, no util. And decimated economy for OG needs to keep those weapons in, so they will opt for the save. Vitality turning around the man advantage. A great defense held there towards the A site. But it was really all thanks to Zywoo and RPK that opened it up. Zywoo in particular take out that AWP, and as soon as MBK fell, Vitality basically had the round. OG scrambling to get themselves picked back up, but not going to happen.
Yeah, Vitality are now starting to put on some decent pressure. We saw for a while, right, that it was just continuous rounds for OG, 5 in a row from the get-go of the second half. No T-side rounds. Yeah, we had a couple of post plants, but really it was OG in control. But now Vitality have won a couple back. It's going to force OG on a tactical pause. Remember, they brought double AWPs into that last round, so there was quite a heavy investment. They did end up saving onto 3 players rather than going into that retake. So they've still got that AWP out for Issa that, well, maybe they can throw over to Mantu, but maybe if he's not going to have any armor, then Issa might just hold on to it. And you've just got to think in terms of the buyers. I mean, Vitality have such an advantage going into round 23.
Yeah, those rifles need to stay in for OG because they couldn't have afforded to buy them in the first place. So these players that went down might have to force the issue around it. Might have to drop some SMGs perhaps from some of the players. Maybe they could just eco around these weapons, and then if they lose this round, they can go back in with a full-blown buy. That's also an option. And that might be the option they take here. Yeah, OG not investing at all here in this one. As I was seeing 2 players cross at the top end of the smoke, we'll now know that there's 2 players on that B site. 2 boosted up over to the short control. Those Shocks better be careful. Pressure aggressive, boosted up, seeing those 2, takes down the 1. Issa to 4. Volde. Sorry, Mantu, I should say, will just grab that AWP and fall back with it.
Yeah, look, at least they recover the AWP, but just a great start coming out from Shocks. Knowing that AWP's probably recovered, and just Alexibi so blind out from long. Zywu now connects with the AWP. Valde and MPK, the last couple left, and they've just got to try and recover, well, at least hold on to this AK. Maybe MPK can try and pick up one of the weapons that got dropped over from short, but it's going to be tough. That USP only landing a dink. No connection continuing to go forward. Vitality taking their 12th with looking like no casualties.
Yeah, Shocks was close, but as you mentioned, no deaths over on the T side. Line Volde to save this AK and just leave it at that because there are no more options for him in this round. Vitality taking a quick control. If they extend out of the longhouse, though, and go back towards T-spawn, they possibly could find this player. They are going for the hunt. And Vitality can kind of afford it. The money's not 100% great on every individual, but, you know, with how many players are looking to stay alive in this round, it might just be worth it to rid them of this AK. I don't think they're going to go fully commit to it, though. Back out towards the pit position and rather just build their own economy than crippled OGs. That's fair enough. Rifles will come back in for the CT side. Regardless, in this next round, Volde can drop. Mantu, Alexi can afford. No AWP, though. Alexi B is $50 off of it, and that's got to be a little bit tragic for OG, but would have been a difficult buy for them regardless.
Yeah, look, that's the big concern, right, is that they weren't able to hold on to any of the weapons in play, at least the AWP, just a single AK is all. Ooh, that looked close. They're not quite close enough. Long challenge coming in for OG, bringing pretty much the entire team out towards this initial contact, leaving a couple players in towards the pit position while the rest go back towards the A site. Vitality very slow onto their default. Will get smoked out from the longhouse, but they're now starting to look into taking some short control.
I get baited by those pictures every single time because they look so dead on, but usually they're not. One map for Vitality, though. For now, they're just looking for the map control. Their defaults have been pretty set standard, just map control hunts and then going straight in for the executions once they establish it. Contested towards long this time by one player of Volde. Flashes over, he's holding him hit alone. The Molotov will try driving back. He's going to force forward and not catch RPK. Completely blind. Apex turns that kill up on the second round of Issa. And Mantu falls to RPK for his double up frag. So 4 casualties as Masuta chimes in out towards the mid control. And Shocks is left alone in a one. Sorry, MBK I should say is left alone in a 1 versus 4. All the way back at the B-bomb site, and, well, this is a 13 for Vitality. That quick and that easy. And that's the excellence we were talking about in the pregame, you know?
Yeah. That's something, the X factor, I think a lot of people talk about from Vitality is just their ability to just, you know, turn up the heat in any individual round. And I think we just saw it right there, how crucial that was with the entries out from the long challenge, how many players OG actually brought over and continued fighting, but the trades kept going in favor of Vitality. And I think OG, this is the moment where they really start to crumble, Jay. Down 11-13 on another eco. They have got to dig deep here if they want to take this map, because remember, this is their map pick in the best of 3 series of Dust2.
And they've kept it competitive, but competitive won't be enough if Vitality win it.
Yeah.
Masuta up towards this long control, flashing in. There's no CTs to challenge this. They're mostly focused on the long position instead. Shocks holding back from behind Big Blue. Hearing several footsteps as now the challenge from short comes in from Apex, and he draws all their attention away from long. Now Shocks can look to act. He's on for 3 kills. They have no idea. They're about to line up for him. He taps through the first man. Eventually lines up that second. Apex gets the third in turn, and now it's all left to the player at the elevator position. Dealt with by Apex all the same. And wow, Vitality, they're looking good. I have a feeling this map might be over.
Yeah, look, this is going to be the last hurrah for OG. Round 26 might be a great opportunity to use that last tactical. I know that they've used, what, 3 of them already. AWP down for Mad2. Kit on for Alexi B, M4s across the board. Pretty much full utility sets up for everybody. And Vitality 2 rounds away from being able to start IEM Katowice with a map victory. And well, that might just be the charge in towards the B side for the T side. Great opening fire for Zywoo, finally connecting out from the mid doors.
Hunting for that all half so far, and he's finally got it. Well done. And you can see how passive this has gone as a result of this. Smokes down towards the B doors coming in. They're just trying to get out of dodge here, trying to get aggressive in towards the big box position, but overwhelmed by Shocks' Tech 9 and why bother? It's Vitality. Save the weapons, try play for overtime, because that's your best bet from here, and I think they realize that as well. 15 to the board of the T side. Thus, 2 may look to end in the next 2 rounds. OG. Wow, they have been outclassed here.
Go hunting. Vitality have got so much cash. More players you deal with on the City side, the better it's going to be going into that next round, because you're just going to limit what they've got. RPK knows that there's a player up towards top mid, towards that right-hand side, playing just behind that smoke from Valde. They've got still a little bit of time between them. RPK maybe trying to wait for his teammate of Masuda to drop down towards suicide. Maybe wait for that smoke to start to bloom. Ooh, doesn't actually land that frag. This is a really decent job for the CTs just trying to stay alive. Only 2 players managed to do so. So even when you think about how many players go down for Vitality, it doesn't matter. There's so much money there for the T side. They get 1 kill. They do economical damage for OG, going into what potentially could be the last round of the map.
Yeah, as you mentioned, so much cash in bank that Vitality can afford to go for it, even though, as you mentioned, they lost 4 players, they're buying. I mean, even post-buy, Masuta starts 14 grand. Orps up, M4's in for OG, lack of utility, lack of kits on Valde and Mantu in particular. It's the Orp in for Zywoo, ready to receive players down towards tunnels, not going to go for the mid-fights this time. Information may or may not be gained. It's Mantu. His AWP set towards the long control. Masuta could potentially grab them a frag or 2. But no. Vitality going to wrap towards long. Go for the A-take.
They don't know about the pit player, so if those cross smokes go down, there's enough distraction coming through, then that could allow a really nice peek from Masuda. He could actually be lining up one of the cross smokes from the back right corner. Vitality flash over the top, trying to draw the CTs forward. Good trades to start off. Man advantage found by the T side.
Molotov on the car position. Bomb passed off to Masuta. 50 seconds as the 2 casualties have come in for the CT side. Only 1 trade. Mantu checking out mid position, but should see nothing. Issa, meanwhile, will see everything. All that Vitality have to throw at them. That HE landing out in the open doesn't do any damage whatsoever. Continues to hold face, hoping for something back here. Some sort of contact, some sort of kill, some sort of way in. The Molotov drives them away, though. They clear out Gandalf, and now it's retake mode. The last retake for OG.
So much util as well for this T side. They've already put a molly down. They've got another smoke to work with and a couple of flashes. MPK and Izzat trying to come through from the city spawn. Mantu as well out from short. Vitality have even smoked him off. They're just buying time at this point.
Straight in, 2 kills for Shocks and Apex. Issa has no chance at this one. He goes down to the IGL with 2 kills to his name and 16-11 for Vitality. As they look to 2-0 this series, we look to a break.